Our matchup of the week goes to Illinois and Washington. Let's head to the Big Ten. Let's head to Seattle. Let's talk about these two teams. It's been a while since we talked about these two teams. Well, Washington's coming off a tough loss against Michigan on Big Noon kickoff. They were in that game for a while. It was a hell of a battle. Illinois coming off a bye, to my knowledge, I believe. Illinois coming off a bye. Big-time matchup this week.
Ohio State week before.
It's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. Washington needs this one. It feels like for the program, you need this one with the way they've lost the last couple. Let's break this one down from the top. Reese, why don't you do it for us?
Yeah, I think for this one, it's all eyes on Damon Williams. Like you talked about that loss they had last week against Michigan. And yeah, it's just they were in it, and then all of a sudden they weren't with a couple bad mistakes that he made too. So now it's you get this game at home, a chance to bounce back against a good Illinois team. This defense will travel. But yeah, you talk about this secondary for Illinois hasn't looked that great. They're getting up 248 yards in the air, which is primarily their weakness. They're getting up 130 on the ground. So I think Washington kind of sees that. How do you kind of attack that and get Damon going early? Because this is also a place we always talk about, like Husky Stadium. It's one of the tougher ones to play on. Like it's going to get loud in there. But the issue is Luke Altmaier is an experienced quarterback. He's been in college football for a while, and this guy just doesn't turn the ball over either. He's played two of the best defenses probably in the country so far in Indiana and Ohio State. He's got 13 touchdowns and only one interception too. So like he just doesn't turn the ball over. So as long as he doesn't do that and give Washington extra opportunities and let Fish on offense to kind of figure their things out, get themselves going a little more, I think Illinois can go in there in this spot and have a chance to win this football game. And just because also this is a Brett Bielema coach football team too, where they had their two losses against two of the top teams in the Big Ten. Then Washington also just they got shut out or they didn't play well against Michigan. And then Ohio State came to town to kind of handle them too. So they played two of the top three defenses, top four defenses in the Big Ten. So now it's a chance for like kind of even playing ground. Like this Illinois defense also, I was looking up their stats. They're just very middle of college football. Like they're 74th in overall defense. So like it's a very middle of the pack chance for Damon to maybe go in there and try to make some noise. But I think, again, Illinois in this spot, chance to go in there and make some noise. I think if you're them, you have to have this spot. I think they're more of a contender, I think, when it comes to the end of the year versus this Washington team.
Yeah, this Washington team's got a couple of slip-ups on their record for sure, where it felt like they were in those games, and one of those games being last week, like you mentioned, Reese. But on the flip side, I've seen and been a part of, I guess I should say personally victimized by how good and how well Brett Bielema could scheme up a game on the road in a tough environment, which really fits this narrative, in my opinion. But on the flip side of things, what Damon Williams has done at Washington and the ability of him as a young quarterback has kind of gone under the radar in college football. And that's why I'm glad they played on Big Noon last week, because he kind of saw bits and flashes of it, but he's been better than what he was against Michigan throughout the season. Not only that, but Jonah Coleman, obviously, been one of the better backs. JP always gives Jonah Coleman his flowers when it comes to Big Ten running backs for good reason. So I like Washington being at home in this spot. I still think their crowd's going to be behind them against an Illinois team who's still ranked in the play fights on rankings. They're up there, and as they should be. It's a talented football team. They have a win against a good USC team the last time we've seen them play. So they got their confidence back after the Signetti blasting, which just feels like it's due once a year. But I think this game's going to come down to, can Illinois limit the run game of Damon Williams extending the plays, as well as Jonah Coleman, and what Washington wants to do. And if they can do that and force maybe just one turnover on the road, you got to feel like Bielema can have an offensive plan with an experienced quarterback like Luke Altmaier that's come to fruition and really benefited this Illinois offense consistently throughout the year. They're going to put themselves in a really good spot. And I've rode Illinois pretty much all year long. So I got to make a decision of whether or not I'm going to go against my picks, which I've done in the past, shout out 2020 Coastal, and it's really bit me in the ass, or ride with a young quarterback and a home team in a Big Ten spot in Week 9. Jake.
I think somebody, Parks, you maybe has said it. This is obviously a big game for both teams. This just feels like a huge swing game for both of their seasons. Let's list out Illinois' next four opponents: Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland, Northwestern. Like, if Illinois wins this game, why can't Illinois go out and win 10 games? I don't see. Seems very winnable to me. And for Washington, pretty similar. You got Purdue at home, Wisconsin, UCLA, and then Oregon at home to end the year. Now, the Oregon game, you're a clear underdog in that one, but you get them at home, and who knows what might happen. So winner of this one feels like 10 wins is very much on the table if they can get it. So huge game for both of these teams. In both losses, Washington's offense has looked poor. Now, I know you're playing at Michigan and Ohio State, who's arguably the best defense in college football, but you can't go for less than 250 yards. And Illinois also outgained Ohio State, but like 3 turnovers turned into 3 scores for Ohio State. So Illinois doesn't turn the ball over much, but in their losses they do. And I feel like if both teams take care of the football, this one's going to feel like more of a track meet like the Illinois USC game was. But I'm waiting to see it because I think one of these two teams is kind of get hit by the turnover bug. And I lean Illinois more because Washington's 9-1 at home under Jed Fish.
Yeah.
So we know the narrative about teams traveling west. It's going to be a tough task, but you mentioned it, Parks. Like, how many times can you doubt Brett Bielema as an underdog, just going on the road in that environment? He seems like the guy that could do it.
You said it right, where Washington's offense has really hurt them, but the reason they've still been in these games, and like the Michigan game last week, is their defense has been pretty exceptional, especially early in games. Like, I don't think Michigan had a first down in that game on third down. They didn't have a third down conversion until like a minute left in the second quarter. Like, Washington's defense has been good, especially up front, and their secondary has been pretty good throughout the season, and they've kept them in games. So getting them at home, you're going to need your best from Altmaier and crew. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, I think you guys have gotten around my points without like giving the exact stats here.
Sounds good.
Shout out phone. Yes, shout out the phone. When Washington wins football games, they're running the ball over 200 yards a game. In losses, it's less than 50. Obviously, you touched on that's been at Michigan and then Ohio State. Doesn't matter. That's still an important stat here because if you're a good running team, that should be a part of your philosophy if it's that important to you. Another stat here, Illinois has been brutal on third down stops. Like 45% of third downs they face end up in offensive first downs. That is a big deal when you have a guy like Damon Williams under center who can consistently make plays and extend plays. So that's something to pay attention to, is if Illinois can get off the field, that changes and flips things. If not, it's going to be because of Williams's legs. Flip the side of that, Washington wasn't able to get a ton going. They're not known to be a very blitzing team. They're not going to get after you a ton, but they turned up the heat on Underwood last week, and it kind of bit them. Underwood kind of figured it out and started dumping things off. What has Altmaier been rough at throughout the years? It's under pressure. What can he do? It seems like he's gotten better to this point this year, but it's still not to the point where you'd hope a quarterback would be under pressure. How do his legs work? And then to add with that, you were talking about like Washington's been decent against the run. I think like with Illinois' struggles along the offensive line, I still think they had the ability to probably run the football. We get healthy along or in the backfield with Fegan and Valentine, both getting that bye week to get healthy. Now you get your top two running backs. Altmaier feels a little bit better. We know the struggles they've been through with the tough schedules at this point. There is just something here where you're looking at a team in Washington where it didn't work last week, but now we come back home and we got another chance to prove ourselves. In Illinois, you're like, all right, last time we went on the road against a team that's pretty darn good, we got our teeth kicked in. How does this really work out? So it's going to be intriguing. I think those are big pieces. Can Illinois get off the field on third down and avoid giving Damon Williams scramble time? And then can Washington slow the run game again and get some more pressure because they were unsuccessful last week?
All right, let's go to picks in this marquee matchup. Illinois, obviously, big time spot for them and see what they can do on the road in a very tough environment within the Big Ten. JP, who you got? Who are you taking against the spread? What do you got for a score prediction?
Yeah, I think what the main thing I want to pay attention to here is that I am going to take Illinois. I'm going to take them outright even. I think that this is a place where both defenses have struggled traditionally, and both offenses have gotten in some battles here, higher scoring. So I'm going to go 30-24 Illinois. Run game gets a little bit better. We find ways defensively, even though with a banged up secondary, to make Washington one-dimensional. Damon Williams will get his. He'll make his plays. He'll get those third downs. But I'm going to take Bielema in this spot, where they learned what happened in Bloomington and take it on the road in a really tough environment in Seattle and win.
I asked myself the question earlier on whether or not I was going to go against Illinois because I haven't done it many times this year. I, for some reason, am getting the same feeling as I got last week. I was the only one on BYU for this spot for Washington. And I think just being at home in that environment, and I feel like there's also a plus for Washington not coming off of a bye. Sometimes I feel like that can kind of hurt a team when it comes to establishing yourself early, getting back into the swing of things. Washington's battle tested as the losses have come. Like Jake's told you about the two games they just had to face against the best defense at Ohio State and then going on the road in the big house and against a young, talented quarterback. Like I expect them to start this game with a little bit of a bang and get Illinois until they get back in the swing of things and maybe slow the game down a little bit. I think Washington does enough at the beginning of the game to get this one done. I feel like this could be a walk-off field goal situation. I just have this feeling that Washington gets this one done at home, and it's kind of similar to that BYU game last week for those reasonings. So I like that. I'm going to go with Williams and company. I like Washington this week. Jake.
It's funny when you asked me about score predictions, Parks, for these graphics last night. I was like, I hadn't done any research yet on this one. I'm like, on hindsight, I was like, I don't know. This one just feels like it's going to be slow, and both teams are going to try to figure each other out. It's going to be low scoring. But then I was like, I did my research. I'm like, I don't know. This feels like it's going to be up there if there's no turnovers. So let my score prediction, say for what it is. But I will take Washington at home.
Nothing does good for our show like telling you people that you did put no thought into throwing your score prediction that we're putting on the screen. Appreciate that.
Well, that was pre doing my notes. I do the work around here. That was just before I did the research. I will take Washington at home.
Get those predictions out early.
Yeah, well, I think their only loss at home was an Ohio State team that could win another national championship game. Like at home on the lake, this team is just different. I actually think they're going to be able to put up some points, and it's going to be like whoever just makes kind of like this one feels so similar to that Missouri Vanderbilt game, and where I feel like it's going to be down to the wire, and one of these quarterbacks is going to make that one mistake that just kind of costs them the game. I'm going to side with the home team capitalizing on the mistake, and I will take Washington.
All right, Reese.
You guys both took Illinois to cover, though. Just so
we're I was gonna preface after the show, Jordan.
Right now, too.
I was gonna preface after the show.
Okay,
I want Washington to cover the spread. If I'm going to take,
I didn't send you any picks.
It's 4.5. It's 4.5.
Well, it's 4.5, and your score prediction is 24-23. So you're insinuating that Illinois is covering.
I guess I did right. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I don't think they win the game.
Heads up, boys.
Not against.
Everybody's got them. Just a heads up.
Yep. All right, Reese. Well, who do you got? You got Illinois. You riding with Washington on score prediction. What do you got?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I'm riding with the quarterback who's been in, and I'm going to take Altmaier in this spot. I think he goes in there. I think he's not going to make. We saw Williams. Yes, it was on the road last week, but he still kind of made a young quarterback mistake, and I still think there's a chance for that here. If Illinois has a chance to get up early, does DeMond try to force a ball somewhere that he shouldn't? Illinois takes it and capitalize on something. I'm going to take Altmaier in this spot. I think goes on the road. It's still a Brett Bielema coach football team. Discipline, sound football. We're all kind of in the same idea with our score. I think it's going to be a lot of slow it down. And then also, you still got Hank Beatty, who's a pretty good X factor for an Illinois team, where if you're going to go win a football game on the road, he's going to be a factor too. So I'll take Illinois outright in this spot.
All right. 2-2 split on the score predictions and who's winning the game. However, Illinois across the board.
No. We're retracting that. Washington's covering.
Okay.
Washington's covering.
Jake's flipping it mid-game. Love that. Great for the
check
show.
The Twitter.
Job,
check the Twitter.
We got to get.
This will be an absolute. Go ahead.
We got to get better at that, because I feel like I've watched so many hype videos from different teams, smaller programs, and even big programs that have included, some college football shows out there, and I'm just in my mind, and this may be completely just oblivious to the world and a little bit, I'm missing delusional, I should say. We're going to be in one of those. We got to get rid of sound bites like, I'm just kidding. I'm changing my opinion. We're never going to be on the hype video, Jake. We got to get on one of these damn hype videos.
I'd be honored to be on one of those and be proven wrong. I'd be honored.
I would too.
I feel like
use me as motivation.
The ultimate sit back and watch two quarterbacks make a ton of plays. That's what this is going to be. Jake said it's probably going to be a little more high scoring than what he has. I think my number's higher because I think Altmaier and Williams are going to make plays here. That's choose two gamers, man. And
I think these are all still. I think these are all still under the total. I'm pretty sure the total's at like 54.5, 56.5, somewhere up there.
54.5.
Yeah, JP would be just flirting with that. So JP's prediction is probably the closest, knowing what Vegas has done the last couple of weeks. But all right, that's the marquee matchup of the week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate you joining us for this clip.